Okay, so Andrew, why don't we call it to order again? Sorry.
Not a problem. Call the meeting to order, 1902. Shall we stand for the pledge?
Oh, really? Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Thank you. So I think the first thing we just want to do is just vote as a commission to allow our secretary, Josephine, to get a audio transcript and later on transcribe this to the minutes, okay? So if somebody can make the motion, we'll second it, and then we'll vote on it.
Okay. So are you making the motion here?
Yes, I will.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous. That'll be recorded. So it's copacetic that we record it on the recording. Okay, Andrew, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So we're going to start with old business, the urban mining report. Tim.
Okay, on July 13th of this year, members of the Solid Waste and Recycling Commission visited Urban Mining Connecticut in Beacon Falls. We were hosted by Anthony Crisciullo, General Manager, and Patrick Grasso, who's the principal. He's out of New Rochelle, New York. For those of you who don't know, Urban Mining receives clean recycled glass containers from municipalities and converts the glass into pozzolan, a white powdery material used as an additive to cement. Up to 50% of pozzolan can be added to the cement to make it more durable, while reducing carbon emissions from manufacturing concrete 100% from raw materials. It's used extensively in roads, sidewalks, tanks, and buildings, and it replaces, it's used a lot to replace fly ash, which used to be from coal-burning power plants, which are on the decline. What we saw was that they receive fairly clean recycled glass, and they first remove the labels, the bottle tops, plastics, and other debris from the containers in the receiving area, and also then go to a process of removing ceramics, which have much different properties than glass. Then what results is a sand-like substance that's further ground and classified into a white powder, which is then shipped to cement plants. What we learned that's relevant to Fairfield is that Oak Ridge trucks currently bring separated glass directly from participating towns, and I just found out this afternoon, I communicated with them, the towns in Connecticut that send their glass directly to urban mining are Newtown, Ridgefield, Greenwich, Bethel, New Milford, Roxbury, and Kent. We didn't get into specifics about costs, but they did say that their tip fees for clean glass delivered directly to them are a fraction of what is charged for materials from MRFs, from single stream recycling. So I want to recommend that our subcommittee look into what might be appropriate, how we could have Fairfield do that to some degree with whatever separated glass we have, which would probably save us money versus what we're now spending for single stream. Again, I haven't looked into this, but I think I was impressed with what I saw up there. And I believe we could. I think we do a lot of good by doing that. So,
hey Tim, any idea on the quantity that's a town like Greenwich or?
No, I do not. And of course, this was in July. We haven't had a meeting since then. I haven't had any chance to look into it. And of course, I haven't been to a meeting since then. So, I want to. What I would recommend is that we look into what quantities they need, what exactly they need. Frankly, I haven't even been down to the transfer station recently. I don't know what the situation is there with recycled, with separated glass, and I know people here do, but I think it's something we should look into to see if it makes any sense.
And I did talk to Jennifer Heaton-Jones, and the HRRA is the group that's the consortium of the towns that is bringing it in. And
I've got their report right here, yeah.
Right, and she did say there's not just one glass recycler in Connecticut. They're looking at going to Strategic, which is farther up the pike, so it's a longer commute. But Oak Ridge is actually taking the glass for them to both sites, to Urban Mining and Strategic. So,
Okay.
Strategic, if your glass is clean enough, will pay for the glass.
But I don't think under our contract, Oak Ridge can take it from here to there, right? That would be a question.
Right now, we're delivering to Oak Ridge.
Well,
And we're paying.
Hey, John Cattell?
Yeah?
Hey, John, are you familiar at all with the glass in trouble?
This is John Cattell.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want me. I was in Bridgeport for about 22 years and in South Fairfield just for 5 years. I didn't really work with Humble. That's John Marsilio, the director.
Residential alarm. Commercial alarm, St. Pius Church, 920 Brookside Drive, Street Mount Laurel Road, and Birch Street, Mount 29. Exercise ladder to automatic commercial alarm, St. Pius Church, 920 Brookside Drive, between Mountain Laurel Road and Birch Street, Mount 29, for the general activation.
Can you turn that off?
No.
Can I turn it off?
No. I was asking if he could mute himself, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm aware of urban mining. I've been involved in transfer stations for 27 plus years. I know that, with the glass on it, our contract with, we have the contract with Enviro who does the hauling. It's something that you could probably do, put a container at the transfer station to pull the glass out there. Your biggest challenge will be with the haulers at the curbside pickup for recycling.
Yeah.
Well, Jen said there was a couple of things there because the haulers in some towns were doing once a month pickup of glass, but apparently because the glass is so abrasive in their containers, they don't like to do that to their trucks. Mm-hmm. So at this point, just a glass program, I guess Lisa's been looking into down at the transfer station. John, it would be a drop and it would have to be contamination issues, right? But as a group, we've looked at this glass recycling opportunity and like to really encourage the team to the next.
Yeah, that was my only suggestion. I think it's worthwhile to look in, see what makes sense, and what we would need to do. If it doesn't make sense, or any way to change things. We just want to get started here, but I think it's very worthwhile.
Oak Ridge does our transportation. Right. Currently, they take our recycling. Oak Ridge is our recycling processor, and currently Enviro transports our recycling to the Oak Ridge facility.
Right.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
So it's a question of, as long as Oak Ridge is fine with it, which I think they have some incentive to get it out of their waste stream. Something that we just say, okay, we're going to take it up.
The biggest issue is probably going to be, like, you can have the containers that are done at the dump, like we have a single stream, and say we have a glass container. You might wind up having to pay someone to monitor it, which is going to have some cost to the town. And then the issue is trying to get haulers to go back away from single stream. That's never, which we've talked about numerous times.
Yes.
And the haulers say, there's no way you're going to.
You mean in terms of them picking it up at curbside?
Yeah. It's.
Well, this is another thing that Jennifer mentioned, and I think it was a solution that some towns came up with, because at this point, all those towns that are participating in the program are dropping it off at the transfer station, or they've set up other drop sites, like we've done with Fabric, at different locations, like shopping malls, and they haven't done schools or anything, but they've had drop sites that are more convenient than the transfer station. But the signage has to be really good. They haven't had a big issue with contamination at those satellite sites. But I don't think we're gonna get the haulers to buy into it. There's too many haulers.
Right.
Hey guys, can I suggest that Tim make a motion to continue studying it and then include John Marcello in it in on the subcommittee study, so that we don't duplicate something that he may already have been able to work around.
Here now, John
Cattell is here now.
Sorry, is going to be heading up the department. So
Yeah.
I think if we're looking for any guidance or anything, he would be the one to copy in on.
Who's that?
John Cattell. He is the new Assistant Public Works Director.
No, who's talking? Andrew?
Andrew, sorry, Hugh. Andrew.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I agree. I just don't want to get. I don't want to get into all the little details until we get John and Tim and the subcommittee.
No, I would agree. I think we'd like to continue this.
Yes, we're just trying to get educated, and we're trying to make sure that some of the elements.
But I think it's certainly something we can look at doing, at least as a container down at the dump facility, and then seeing what other methods may be. I just see, like, I think it's a huge thing that we could totally do, but as a town-wide to do it and then try and switch away from single stream is going to be an uphill battle the whole way.
Well, but I'm going to back up a second before I make a motion and say this is the first time I've been on this, I guess officially on this commission since January. It's the first time I've even met some people. First time I've been physically here, and I've been very frustrated about this because I agree that any kind of change like that's going to take a while, and that's fine. But I think I personally would like to see a better situation than we have today. And the only reason I didn't bring up, I don't want to get into a lot of details about what we can and can't do, but yes, I definitely want to investigate this. And I was very much looking forward to meet you, John, because you're new, I'm new, and now that we have someone permanently in the job, I've met John, and I know Ed Bowman. He took me to the transfer station one time. So I want to get into this.
I'm here to serve.
Yeah, that well, and I am too.
So maybe the way to go about it after you make your motion is to have a meeting with John and
absolutely, positively. That's what I do.
So that we can go.
Well, and you and I and Mike are on the subcommittee, and we should all be involved. But yes.
Of course.
So anyway, I want to make a motion that the commission investigate what could possibly happen with the glass recycling, involving either urban mining or strategic. I know that's some person here, but to investigate what's possible.
Right, okay. And I second that motion.
Okay.
Discussion? Do we have a discussion? Discussion on the motion. I would just make the motion that the commission ask the subcommittee to do these things and to include, as you said, John Cattell, and also include the parameters of the volumes and the potential costs or cost savings.
Sure.
Okay.
In terms of discussion, one thing I'd like to say that, and Misty and I talked earlier today about the number of haulers in town. I live in a condominium, Woodfield Village. We have Big Little, and they're the only ones that will service us. We've tried to get, no one else is interested. I understand there's something like 17 haulers around town. If the haulers are licensed by the town of Fairfield, they work for us, and any changes, may not be easy or desirable. But if the town wants to do this, they should be.
Yeah.
They may have to be willing to do it.
Yeah, that's a big long.
That's a big. I know. I know.
Well, but part of your subcommittee's role is develop the feasibility of it. So if in your review you talk to 7 haulers and they flat out say we're not going to do that, come heck or high water, then that gives you an indication as to what kind of pushback we're going to get. You follow what I'm saying?
I see the haulers then, yes, townwide if they want to do it, but the haulers then can all raise their prices.
Well,
because
of course.
Which then affects the townspeople, and then the townspeople are in uproar because they have to pay more money. It's happened before.
Yeah, I know.
Let's focus our energies on that
All right.
subcommittee.
I mean, I'm with you. I think that the change needs to happen. I think single stream recycling should have never happened, but
I
here
agree
we
with you
are, and
completely.
we're dealing with it, you know?
Now we're going
and
backwards and taking it all out of the picture.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the proposal, the motion, and the motion is for the subcommittee to look at this issue, and they have a pretty broad mandate. They're going to look at the wide swath of ramifications as to what the potential savings or cost savings are, and what the potential pushbacks could or might be, and then come to the commission with a report.
More discussion. Maybe vote now.
We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? So passes. We'll move on to June, meeting minutes.
Well, we're supposed to make a motion to approve the meeting.
Yep.
Is that what you're doing?
So I was just, opening up to the meeting minutes. Does anybody have any discussion?
No.
No? Okay. Let's like to make a motion to, accept the June meeting minutes as posted.
I second that.
Okay. Discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment on page 2. It says on there, Mr. Marsilio has a conflict. I think the word schedule has to go in there. I don't think he had a conflict with Eckovich. I think he had a scheduling conflict. Page 2 of the minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraph down.
Oh.
Well,
Has a conflict. Okay, I see what you mean.
see, it says has a conflict. I think the word schedule has to go in there.
Got that. I'll make sure she knows.
Yep. Okay.
So we have noted.
On 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, stop. Moving on to subcommittee reports. I know.
Well, our subcommittee was Michael and Tim and I and Hugh. And Hugh has decided to drop out of the commission.
Guy.
Guy. Excuse me.
Guy.
Okay.
Guy.
I got it. And so we actually haven't met, but we are certainly ready to get going here now that it's September. It was hard to get our schedules together. So we are really focused on the glass recycling. And we were looking at some of the other issues that may impact this whole glass recycling project, like the number of haulers, the fact that we have haulers that are competing heavily for business around town. So not to bog the meeting down in details, I think our subcommittee will focus on education,
Right.
outreach, how we can support a program moving forward for glass recycling. And what? Yes?
Misty, I'm a little confused. Is this going to be this subcommittee isn't doing the same work that Tim's subcommittee is doing on the glass recycling, right?
This is the only subcommittee. It's just right now. It's just Tim and Misty and Mike.
Okay, so the urban mining report is actually the same subcommittee that you're talking about right now.
Yeah, it could have fallen under the same thing, but yes, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So our plan is to meet in September, and we will start working move forward.
Okay. I don't think we need a motion for your report yet.
Report.
So we'll move on to bin labeling update.
Well, I thought it was really interesting that Lisa mentioned that they recycle, and they were actually putting cannot take this product in the recycling stream, and they're refusing it. They're really the first ones I've heard about that are even using any kind of feedback to the customer. So it just brings light to the fact that this could really happen. I think the haulers are the best bet for reaching our community. We can do all sorts of education. People read so little these days. The information is coming from many different sources, but the haulers are the ones that go out to the bins, and they know what's in there, and they know what's wrong, and they know what's right. So unfortunately, it's a difficult situation because when you see a bunch of stuff in the recycle bin, it doesn't cost them anything to dump it in their truck and dump it in Fairfield because they're not paying for recycles. But if they take it out of that recycle bin and put it into the trash, the customer's trash, they have to pay the price, the additional weight that's in their truck. So it's kind of a challenge, and I think it's sometimes we should really sit down and look at the whole relationship we have with the haulers and their responsibility to help us clean up the recycles. Because if you go into the transfer station and you watch them offload the product in their cart, it's seriously difficult to say, oh, that's recycled and that is junk, because it all looks the same. It's soiled, there's lots of plastic bags in the recycle stream. So I think it would behoove us to really try to get working in a much better way with the hauling community.
And the haulers pay $0 to dump their trucks when they fill them with recycling?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. So they're not incentivized to take the stuff out of the recycling bin and put it into trash because they're the ones that are going to pay for it.
No, the haulers.
Yeah, I'm talking about the haulers.
Okay.
The haulers are going to pay for the trash, but they're not going to pay for the recycling.
They don't pay for the recycling, so they are incentivized to have clean recycling.
No, they're not.
They're incentivized to have dirty recycling.
Yeah, because they see all this garbage in recycling, and if they take it out of there and say, no, this is trash, and they end up paying for it. So they end up just dumping it down there at the transfer station. And at some point, we have to say, look, the town is paying big time for this, and we're going to get fined.
Okay, can I ask a question? What controls do we have at the transfer station? What mechanical, engineering, or observational controls do we have at the transfer station to police or monitor? I don't want to use the word police, to oversee the haulers dumping.
Apparently, that's Enviro's personnel that are really looking at it, not incentivized for that.
Well, Lisa has been trying.
Yeah, but we've gotten rid of
kind of
most of the staff down there, right? On
our
end?
No, there's Lisa and...
Well, generally, when somebody catches people doing things wrong and they bring it to their attention, if you do that a little while, then all the haulers will get the message, right? Would that work here or no? I mean, is it something we got to stand somebody there all day and have one of the environmental people looking at it all day? I find it difficult to believe that those environmental people aren't well aware of what's being dumped and aren't well aware of what haulers don't care. I would find it difficult to believe. If I worked down there all the time and I was pushing the stuff into the hole, into the compactors, and I just saw the stuff coming off the back of the trash truck, I'd have a pretty good idea as to who's picking up what and what they're letting go through. Do you guys see that or no?
I don't. I think it's across the board a mess. I mean, from what I've seen, and I've spent a lot of time down there looking at what's going into the recycle bin, I've seen a lot of different companies going down there offloading. And
yeah, but we're not talking the recycle bin. We're talking about the trash. We're talking about recyclable stuff going into the trash.
No, we're talking about the recycle stream being like a waste stream. It's contaminated.
Two different. I was originally thinking the same thing you was, but.
We're talking about the fact that the recycle stream is contaminated, significantly contaminated.
So, I mean, I think it's great to have some sort of stickers on the bins. It's just going to be a question of getting them out there. Who's going to pay for them?
Well,
it's going to be a single label that we design.
We have these haulers, and they are contracted with us, and maybe it's time for us to put our foot down with the haulers too and say, look, there's got to be, and you were right to say, who can monitor this, or how can we start to turn this around? And
But we can look at what it would take to mandate as part of the renewals, maybe, that we require bins to have
Stickers.
Yes.
stickers.
What do you think
it could be a sticker that it could be a sticker that we provide, could be a sticker that they have to provide, but if we provide it, it could be the same.
Well, let me just interrupt here. We have, again, Woodfield Village has like 18 or 19 recycled garbage and dumpster sheds. Within the last few months, I had our condominium put together. This is Becky's artwork here on recycle, and we put one of these up in the bin, but just about at the same time, Big Little actually put, and I can send this around, and again, this is awkward with all the barrier stuff.
Yeah, but again,
they put that down on their own, at least, and all it says here is single stream recycling, accepted materials, mixed paper, flattened cardboard, metal cans, glass bottles and jars, and plastic containers, recyclables only. So they did something on their own. Now, again, I don't know about the other haulers, but this is the kind of thing that wouldn't cost a lot of money.
The only one that's doing it at this point, but it might be something that we could look into that as a subcommittee.
If we designed a sticker that was a little clearer like this, even at this size, and had it, town of Fairfield, something like that, and it had to go on to the...
As you can see, what we did, and I was surprised, the board was very willing to spend $200 to make these plastic, substantial materials with 4 holes for it and put it up there for us. And it wouldn't, and I think something like this, something similar to this went out in the tax bills recently too. So
it did go out in the tax bills.
It wasn't this, but it was
something. This is on the lid of every recycling bin. That might make a difference.
That's where it's really going to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Get it out there.
It's just be a matter of, I don't know. I think the town would have to incur the expense of making the stickers.
Yeah.
And we would provide them to the haulers, and they would have to sign saying that their bins are going to be on there. And then, it could be up to anybody to monitor that to make sure that, you start seeing them out there.
But the whole issue of what's going into that compactor and whose eyes are on it, I don't think they know it's...
Enviro doesn't care. They're contracted and they're a little bit, they just want to get paid.
Well, they're the employee of Fairfield. They're not going to go, yelling at Fairfield people.
They're not there. They're not town employees. They're not Fairfield people. It has no burden to them, I don't think, to incentivize that.
Now, I do have a question. Who is Lisa and who does she work for?
We'll get into
okay, all right, fine. I'll let that go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we'll continue this discussion in the subcommittee because it's education and outreach, and we'll...
And John, maybe we can start to look into what the town's position would be on some of that.
I don't know what the protocol is, but Becky has a question, I think. Does that come later? Or?
Yeah, there's not normally public comment. Hugh, how do you want to handle that?
Is it a question about the labeling?
She has her hand up. That's all I wanted to... Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Adriel. Go ahead, take care of it.
Public to make comments as we go along. It's easier than... Yeah. But there's ARPA funding right now, $24 million. If you wait and just put this back in the subcommittee, you miss out on that opportunity. So
that's a really
something
good point.
that you want to do. Same thing with the glass pilot. You might want to accelerate your timeline on this so that you can take advantage of ARPA, $24 million worth of ARPA funding.
Yep.
So Becky, the thought would be to work with the town grant writer, or do we have to write the grant?
No, you have to have John Marsilio or John Cattell put in a request for DPW to cover the cost of stickers, which is anywhere from $8,000 to $11,000, depending on which supplier you go with. That would be a 6x9 sticker that would be UV coated to stand up to sunlight, and it would be on a high gloss surface that is durable and
Okay, so the subcommittee should take that under advisement and come back to us a report.
And you'll miss the ARPA funding.
Yeah.
So I'll just tell you right now, you will miss the ARPA funding if you wait.
That's a really good point.
And what's the deadline? Do you have any idea?
Yep, 20th or 27th of this month.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, we're not doing anything by the 27th of this month.
It's in front of of this commission for over a year now, and it's been brought up multiple times. You've had the data, you've had emails. The fact that you guys are not moving on this is really embarrassing to the town. You're paying $75,000 right now for your recycling, and that's costing taxpayers lots of money, and you guys keep pushing it off and pushing it off. I'm sorry, this is speaking right now, and I'm very disappointed in this commission.
So, I'm gonna interject there a little bit. So, it has been in front of us before. We have talked about it. The town did shoot down the spending on it before. I am aware of the funding. I'm also aware of most of that has been spoken for already. So I'm not opposed to having John look into it if it's something that they want to give us on a last minute whim, if there's money allowed in there for that. It is something that we've talked about before. There would still be some back end follow up to it as to how we get it out to the public if it's approved. I think I would hate to see them just sent out and like people not put them on. So I think it would have to go back to like a renewal. Even if we held them, it would have to go back to a renewal with the haulers or some sort of agreement with the haulers involved to get them onto the bin.
John, what do you think our options are?
Yeah, do you have
You're looking at all the little blue bins, not the
recycling bins in town provided by the haulers and the ones at the gas stations and everything else to put a sticker of a smaller size.
You can have that.
A smaller size,
I've got another copy
something like that. That would just give a little bit of educational awareness, and help maybe what goes in there.
It's about $8,000 to $11,000.
Becky's saying $8,000 to $11,000. I assume you've gotten.
Andrew?
Yes, you.
We have an education subcommittee that is developing recommendations for this, so I think that's the proper place for it to be.
Well, I think the point is, if we wait another week, we're not going to get to do anything on this thing. So we need to move ahead with this.
Well, the town's not closing down. Our trash haulers collect from these houses every single week, 52 weeks a year. So nothing's happened on that. We're not rushing to request $11,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 expenditure until we've had a recommendation from the subcommittee after they've studied it. That's why we established a subcommittee.
No. The subcommittee, we have been talking about this, and we did make that suggestion. We feel that one of the most important ways we can reach the public is not by flyers or on the website, but by putting that sticker right on the bin. So the subcommittee has supported this right from the get-go.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out how this town works, and with all the changes.
I understand. I appreciate that. But the subcommittee has to come to us with a proposal, to the commission with a proposal, the cost, the benefit, and the timeline. And you can't come to us on the 15th and say it's got to be done by the 27th. It doesn't work.
Is putting in a request for a cost without having.
It just can't work. The town doesn't work that way. It's got to be something we study.
And I do agree that it's a shot at the dark if we can get the money, you ask, but, I'm kind of torn on that. John, Hugh, 1 second. I just want to ask John what your, knowledge and opinion is on that matter at this time with the things that are going on with our.
I know there's a lot of things being requested.
Yeah, which is I heard too. So
that's going on. I mean,
we're waiting.
Is that 11,000 your biggest concern to address ARPA?
Right.
$11,000.
Has your department put in any requests for the solid waste under that fund? I know we've looked at it.
I don't know what's.
You don't know. Okay.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. I know there's been numerous reports and things done for the transfer station, so I'm just curious.
And there's a lot of work that still needs to be done.
That needs to be done. So I didn't know if something else was being done.
Couldn't that be part and parcel of signage? Because it is in a big way signage to get information out there to the public. Just like you would put signage at the transfer station, this could be included in that package of signage, and we could just add it. You know what I mean?
I don't, I'd have to look at it.
Right, it's, the problem is there's
I
nothing
don't
that's gonna
have
happen
the list
today.
of what's being put in for ARPA and and how much it says made for, I don't have that.
Well,
I'm not saying it's bad to do it, I'm just saying I don't know what's been put in for the ARPA money that's.
Well, how do we find out and how?
Well, I think what we need is a subcommittee to come back to the commission with a proposal. We can't change it to last minute. We're going to call it signage, we're going to call it labeling, we're going to call it bids, we're going to call it haulers. We have to be clear as to what we're doing, what the intent is, and what the cost is, and that should come to the. I'm looking at the agenda. We don't have a motion on there. We don't have an agenda item to go forward on this particular item tonight. So I'm suggesting that the subcommittee take this under advisement and they do the work and then come back to us.
I do also agree that if we realize that we're rushing something, a $10,000 expense for the town.
it's a rounding error.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily something that like, it qualifies for, I mean, it could qualify for the ARPA money, but I mean, it's not the town's largest expense by any means. I mean.
I want to say that
I would like to see this get done at some point.
At some point, no, I have to say that it's unfortunate that this deadline is coming up, but we haven't been able to meet.
We tried.
We have tried. The meetings have been very frustrating for me because most of them haven't even been even on Zoom. And the first, I think that I like anything I do. I like to take my time and get the facts. And the subcommittee will work on this, but I don't think there's any way we're going to have anything substantial by 2 weeks from now.
Right.
And you know, John is brand new here now. I mean, John Marsilio has been doing this. I've worked with him, but now that John Cattell is here and full time and responsible to this, then let's do this right. And again, even if we miss this funding, this is not, according to the town, but this is a rounding error. And I'm not saying it's easy to get money, but if we can come up with a reasonable approach here and get the haulers on board, I mean, the cost of the stickers can't be too substantial. So we will. I personally will.
Okay, I agree with the public speaker here, and I think that we have talked about so many things, and we don't end up going to the next step because we get bogged down. Now the committee can meet. Tim and Michael and I can meet.
We absolutely will.
Most of the work has already been done here.
Right.
Becky Bennell has done a tremendous amount of work to present this to the commission. So I think we could certainly put something together, but we would need to schedule or have a special meeting. And with so few of us here anyway, maybe having a special meeting is appropriate, so that we can, ask. Do you think John Marsilio could attend a special meeting?
I'll talk to him about
and I don't see why this is going to take oodles of time, because we have the prices and we have the.
Oh, okay. Can I make a suggestion that the subcommittee meet within the next couple of days and discuss it and come up with a plan, and then get back to the chairman, and if we can have a special meeting, we can. Okay.
And we'll be in touch with you, right, John? Okay.
Yeah, I'd see a formal proposal with some actual numbers and stuff, but I mean,
we have to have a concrete. We have to know what we're talking about.
Maybe they can find the money in there, and if not, we could just go to the town and say this is what we'd like to
put it in the budget.
We should have a plan. I mean, I agree.
As an example, what went out with the tax bill was not the town did not agree to fund it, but your department, the Public Works, had money to do it, and they did it. So
we actually
got the funding.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, forgive me.
Applied for a grant and got grant funding, but John Marsilio was willing to do it if we had gotten the grant. So
okay.
I really appreciate that he stepped up and was willing to.
Thank you. Good.
Okay, so.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to glass pilot status.
I think we did that, no?
Glass pilot, that's urban mining, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mattress and box spring report from Veterans Park.
Well, the Sustainable Task Force has been in touch with Bye Bye Mattress for years, and as we all know, that like 97% of the mattress and box springs can be recycled. So why are we dumping them in the compactor? So on September 18th from 9 to 1, we've been given the okay to go to parks and or the Veterans Park to have a pickup by Bye Bye Mattress, and it's free to Fairfield and surrounding communities to drop off their mattresses. And we've been trying to promote this through a number of trying to get the word out. The trick is getting the mattresses down there, but then, people are bringing them down to the transfer station, so they should be able to bring them to Veterans Park. That's what I'm hoping.
Has this been brought up to,
This is not anything to do with this commission, it's simply the Fairfield.
Has this been brought up to, Brenda's newsletter team?
Yeah, they've talked to Brenda.
Have they put it in? I've been away, so I missed the Pasco, okay.
It was in the last.
Okay, that's great, I mean, that gets it out to a lot of people, I think, so, okay. Any other postings that we could get, a Facebook posting or anything from the town, maybe, that this event is going on?
Oh,
It's a bad time of year for the college kids, you're not gonna get any of those
Yeah,
messages,
but I mean, there's a lot of people that are transitioning and they're moving.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes, I mean, they've been working, they've got a whole group of people.
Misty, how many mattresses are we talking about, the collection, that collection date?
Who knows? I'm not even going to go there.
But we'll look to have, have you report on it.
Yeah, we'll report on it.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Okay,
Do you want any information?
What's that?
Do you want information?
New business.
We can, do you have information pertaining to?
I mean, I can give you information. When we did the mattress pickup last time, which was not a drop-off, we got 48 mattresses. And these were ones where residents had to actually pay $20, and we still got them to come pick them up at their house for 48 mattresses.
Okay.
So we were hoping to
This
get,
you're not charging anybody,
this you're not charging anyone.
But they have to
We're
bring
hoping to
it.
get at least a truckload, which is roughly 50 mattresses. And
Okay.
Obviously, so.
yeah, I am very curious to hear the findings, the report afterwards, so it'd be good.
It's
good to see how
ideal
that
to
works.
do it with the pickup.
What's
It's actually the ideal way to go, but that by mattress is not.
Yeah. Okay. Move on to new business. So, John's already introduced himself, but I'll let him introduce himself again.
So I'd start here in July. My background, as I said, probably about 27 years dealing with transfer stations, garbage, and so forth. It's been 22 years at the transfer station operations as deputy director there, under John Marsilio at one point in time as one of the other directors. I was also involved in actually the construction of their transfer station as far as all the drop-offs other than the main building itself. I spent the last 5 years up in Southbury as the director of public works up there, and we ran the transfer station in-house. We basically put we hired out a hauler to do the actual hauling, but we operated it in-house. Two town folks, employees, and several part-timers would shift around. So we had about a total of maybe 3 to 4 people at a time up there. They only had one compactor for garbage. Recycling was being dumped into 40-yard containers. So I could deal with it, and up there I ended up having to start changing the way things got done to make it a little safer and comply with OSHA standards, more sophisticated. I've had a lot, and as you know, John Marsilio has also had 27, 30 years of transfer stations. That's a little bit about my background with my father. I graduated from the United States Marine Academy, Kings Point, and I sailed on my license as a chief engineer. I the offshore drilling business, seismic business, oil transportation around northeast here. I went to work shore for the Department of Defense as a nuclear test engineer up at Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Then from there, that's what I reached for. So, I've been going this type of government work now for probably about 27 years or so. One of the things, and that's the introduction on me, as far as what you talk, that rolls into your organization or whatever, some of the things that we're looking to do with the transfer station.
Yeah.
One of the things is, right off the bat, we know that there's a lot of repairs that are out there that have to be ongoing, and I can read you off some of them, what we've accomplished so far, and some things we're still doing. But one of the things I see right off the bat is changing the flow of direction through it. I'm looking at putting a kind of like a ramp that's closer to the scale outlets to go straight up instead of sending some of these cars all the way down and then making a right and giving the ticket to a person. That's inefficient to do it that way. So looking at changing the flow, looking at changing the layout, the personnel, you're talking about more of monitoring. I'm looking at getting your seat.
Hugh, can you mute your phone?
Okay.
Okay,
That's good, that's
right?
good, yeah.
So, looking at moving the personnel that currently is at that shack up to the area on top, which will be given more direction as to what goes where, kind of watching out as to what is getting dumped in different areas. So I think that will be a big improvement, and like I said, it's more of a switching of the personnel. One of the things I'm looking into also is actually taking in-house. You know, we have to do a lot of studying on it, but taking operations in-house.
Yes.
Away from
Enviro.
Yeah,
the city of Bridgeport did this back in around 2016, and they're claiming $600,000 or $300,000 a year. We obviously have a little bit different operations than they do, but we'll investigate it and see what it is. It may be a hybrid. When I say a hybrid,
yeah.
A hybrid is kind of what I had up in Southbury, where, you know, we did the operations, and all we basically contracted out was the hauling process of it. So, you know, it may be something that we kind of crawl a little bit and start with that and then switch over completely. We'll have to do a lot of investigation. But those are some of the things that I'm looking at doing besides, you know, the transfer station as a whole needs a lot of work. We have, I'll go through a couple of things that we've been doing so far. The new electrical service was relocated on the lower level above the floodplain.
Mm.
New emergency lighting on both levels, including the bathrooms and the shower. They plumbed some new water lines and fixtures for the bathrooms and emergency shower in the operations area. Put some electric heaters in the bathrooms and the showers. Got a spill kit down there, so you at least have for the compactors. We've been working on getting the cameras up and running. I have 2 cameras that kind of work right now, so from my desk I can see who's coming over the scale, and it helps also the scale operators to see a little bit inside the larger trucks because it points down into them, as well as focus on the general operation from a distance of the whole transfer station. But we have more cameras that will be going in that are inside the operation. That again will help us, saying, okay, here, you dumped this thing which doesn't belong
Yeah.
there. We got you on film,
So that's going right in on top of the compactors?
Yeah, there's gonna be several of them up the top. So like I said, we'll have more cameras going in remote. We have to finish getting some power outlets up there to operate the ones on the inside. There's some issues, obviously, as you know, with the roof leaking, heavy work. Went over that deodorizer. We were initially getting some complaints about the smell from neighbors there, and so we reprogrammed that so that's a little bit better on that aspect. So the things that are going on, we're looking at 2 new signs. We're looking at new signage on top of the transfer station to tell you there's certain things that DEEP requires you to have on your sign. So we're making sure we're compliant with that and having it right up on top of the front of the building. So it's very evident to people when they come down the road and they see, okay, that's the transfer station, the scale house. And as I said, once we change the flow and put a new driveway, that'll kind of help lead people to understand, this is the way you're going for a transfer station up versus people just going cutting right down the end. The roof, let's see. So we're putting some awnings. We've gotten credit card machines, and I'm looking at this week of getting them into action. We have tomorrow. I'm supposed to have IT drop them off. We've already gotten our scale set up so that that software can handle. So that should be done this week. Replacement of the metal roof and siding by United Roofing a couple of weeks away due to the lead time on the rigid insulation. That job has to be obviously coordinated with Enviro, where you're doing one trailer at a time. So there's a little work on that, but again, we're just waiting for the vendor to get its materials. There's some trench pits, the drainage have to need a welder in there for that and do some work on the lower level just so that it's got proper grates in there and prevent a lot of your garbage, your recycling from falling down into it and clogging it up. And the painter, I talked to Enviro just before this meeting. They're to be beginning painting the lower level probably the end of this week or next week. They got to get in there and power wash it again to do it. They were hoping of doing it last week, but then we got hit with the major storms and everything got back down with all that rainfall and all. Those are kind of the things that are going on. Like I said, I've been dealing with Lisa and kind of working with her a bit and getting her input. Lisa, if you haven't met her, Lisa is, she's a full-time employee.
She's a full-time employee of Fairfield.
So at the town.
What's her last name?
Gant, G-H-A-N-T.
Well, you can send it to us, yeah.
I forgot how she pronounced it, Gant or something.
Yeah, G-N-A-N-D-T. G-N-A-N-D-T.
Well, that's a tough one.
So I've been working with her. Lisa has a lot of experience too. She used to work with
Green Cycle at the time.
The recycling.
Yeah, she used to run what Denali We Care was Harvest, and then before that was Green Cycle. She was with Green Cycle.
So very knowledgeable. We're both on the same wavelength as far as safety. When I first started here, it's like, okay, first getting Enviro workers to wear their vests around there. I mean, you go to other facilities and in that type of environment, you got supposed to be wearing a reflective vest so that people can see you. And so they got on board with that, and they're complying with that. And now we're working a little bit with the haulers that, most of them are pretty good. There's still a couple of them that, they get out of the truck where they're going to dump into the pit and they don't have the vest on. So yeah. There's some safety things with that we're pursuing and getting them on board with. Like I said, the credit cards should be up and running soon. Looking forward to that. That'll help things a lot. So those are some of the organizational skills. Like I said, the big picture is, yes, I'd love to take the whole thing in-house, like Bridgeport did over there, but we have to just see if the numbers work out.
What do you mean by that?
Where it's town employees or part-timers that are running the equipment. I mean, you have to have a major either lease commitment or purchase of heavy equipment, trailers, and everything else.
I think our goal as a commission, the last time the bid went out, is that we went to a lot of other places and talked to other, All-American and other people that would have bid on that, and Enviro was the only one that bid on the last contract. And basically, the responses that we got was that our transfer station was so unorganized and run down that they didn't want it. So our goal after that was to try and get it to a place where we could attract a better company, because I don't think any of us are really happy with Enviro and stuff. And maybe they're improving, and that's fine. But it would be a huge commitment to try and take it in house.
Yes.
And and me as a business owner, I don't always agree, because a lot of times, there's businesses that can do it more efficiently because they're larger than the town can do it with town employees, and town employees come with big benefit packages that small businesses don't have to pay and things like that. So, they can be argued both ways, but if we could at least get it to a point where we could attract 3 or 4 competitive bids when we put out the contract next, that would be really helpful.
No, I agree. It needs a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of work that needs to get done on it, so I'm not happy how it is myself, and there's a lot of changes I want to see. Just like I said, just plain efficiency. I can't believe you go to a scale, then you go down the street and then see another person.
That's been that guard check's been my biggest complaint for years. I thought we could at least get to a ticketing system that you put a ticket in and the gate opens, or something.
Well, by reversing the flow, you don't even need to do that.
You won't need that, because the guard,
go through the scale house and straight up to where you gotta dump things off.
So you take a right instead of going
You'd come off the scale and go kind of
to the right.
You'd kind of go
right,
kind of like where the out exit is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm gonna be shifting it a little bit over, so it's not such a hard turn for trucks and stuff like that.
Oh, so the trucks are gonna use that same pathway, because
They can.
Okay.
The commercial haulers isn't the big problem. They know where they're going all the way down to the end. I still gotta keep them separated somewhat. But it's just, the person down at the end isn't there for the big commercial hauler. They know this stuff, my understanding was, people used to come around the corner, skip the scale house and go right down and in. I don't know how often that occurs. I mean, you got cameras on things, it's easy enough to say, okay, police go after this person or whatever. But I just see that as a inefficient operation, and I think by changing direction, it would improve it a lot better.
Well, we look forward to the updates, and we would like to hopefully request we hear about them before they get too far along. Some of our complaints in the past have been that we've heard of things the town did after it was done, and that's not kind of how we felt, so just keep us
Well, like I said, it's kind of where I'm going.
Awesome.
Will you be the person to give us reports on tonnage?
Sure.
And all that information about prices, how it's fluctuating in the recycle market? Okay.
I'm here to serve.
Okay. Okay.
Is this department the largest part of your task on the day-to-day, or?
No.
Because we used to have a dedicated person for that, so it's a little concerning to some of us, that's all.
It's not that, it's not that big of a deal. It takes some more time that I spend, and it's gonna take a little more time in the beginning until I get things sort of straightened out there. Like everything, it takes a little bit to learn what the issues are, fix them, and then it's runs smooth, and you're not spending much time.
Just a quick little question before we move along. And you had mattress pickup in Bridgeport, right?
Not in Bridgeport. I had it not a pickup. I had it a drop off in Southbury.
In the trailers.
in a trailer. Now, you have to understand one thing. Southbury has the largest, elderly population community in the state.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of turnover, and I'm referring to Heritage Village.
Heritage Village, yeah.
It's the largest senior living community in the state. And you're talking probably about 5,500 people or units or whatever it was. So we started out with a truck. You know, like you said, that they would come with the truck and they would throw it back to the truck, or I think it might be the container to start with. And we found up there that we had such a turnover or supply of mattress and box springs that they actually provided a trailer for us. And we filled the trailer, and I can't remember how often we changed them over, but
Yeah.
we had a lot.
So, when you do your report, can you just add one line item about the mattresses? Because I don't think they're really keeping track. I'm just curious, because it's such a big product going into
We
the,
don't, I don't think they're actually counting mattresses going through
it's so easy to do. I just,
It isn't,
The mattress is getting done?
yeah.
I don't think they're,
I don't think we have that many.
Well, I know,
They're just scaling it at that point.
I would, you know, we bought a mattress within the last 3 or 4 years, I would never buy a mattress without arranging for the mattress supplier to take the old one out.
Yeah,
Now, I don't know where they take them, but I'm surprised that people actually bring mattresses down there. Well, you have to have a truck to do it. I don't have a passenger car, I couldn't even do it.
So, online mattresses have become a huge item now.
Yeah, okay,
They pack them and they're foam and they come in like a sleeve, and then you
Oh,
open it up.
my
And
God.
now, and I think the haulers will charge you a fee to come and grab the mattresses, and then they'll dump them like bulky waste kind of.
Well, they illegally put mattresses in our condo bins sometimes, you know, in the middle of the night, and yeah.
Yeah, you're on.
Could you unmute?
I don't know how to do that. Let's see. I guess I'd go backwards.
Well, we can hear you.
He's on his phone.
Oh, the phone, okay.
Do you think I'd just go backwards then?
Hello?
You're back.
Hi,
You're
are
back.
you there? Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
good. Okay, I wasn't able to add anything, which probably made you guys happy. No. Hey, John, I got a couple of questions. Thank you. Number one, welcome to the town and the department. We look forward to working with you. The roof and siding, that's already budgeted, right? The roof and siding?
The roof, the metal portion roof is scheduled for a couple of weeks. We're just waiting for the vendor to get his material.
Cool, okay. I don't understand with the new flow of traffic, but I'll talk to the other guys, because I think I missed a portion of what you said. The new flow sounds interesting, but I don't understand it, so I'll talk to the other guys and try to catch up on what you said. But I have a question. Do we have any issues with the compactors? How they've been acting the past couple of months? We haven't met for 2 months, and then before that, the last thing we heard about the compactors is that there was a computer problem, and one of them was down for a little while. How are they doing now?
I'm having an issue with the one for residential solid waste that has been flipping out on temperature. So I was down there today and talking also to the manufacturer rep. He's going to give me some information. Basically, it's tripping out on a high oil temperature, and it looks like the oil cooling fan might not be working properly. So sometimes it'll go down for a little bit, and then it'll cool off, and then run again.
Last I heard about that it's a Canadian company, and they were going to come down and reprogram, and they couldn't come into the States. Is that the same thing going on?
Not that I know of yet.
Okay.
Have we had any more issues with the trailers going out half full? For a while, the trailers were going out up to Shelton and wherever they were taking them because the compactor wasn't able to push it all the way in, load the whole trailer. Has that been resolved?
The tonnage is high.
Good.
Okay, good.
And if so, that's not an expense to the town, because we pay by the ton. That's something that the vendor, or Enviro Express, would want to get maximized for their hauling benefit.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that we, want to have fill. It's just I don't want to overfill it too much either.
No, you're right. But I guess it became an issue because they didn't have enough trailers, and for a while the stuff was just accumulating up on the deck, up on the platform, because they couldn't dump it in because the trailers were going out half full, and then they didn't have any trailers to replace it with. Okay, so that's been resolved.
Up all the way.
Good. The bathrooms, you said the new bathrooms, they have the showers so the guys, the environment people can clean up. Yeah. So that's all been, okay, good. That's the good news. Okay, thank you.
I just have one other question, just touching on the upgrades. From the allotted money that we have, is there anything outstanding beyond that, what you touched on, that still needs to get done? We had some approved funding and stuff, so I'm just wondering if what got approved has now been spent, or if there's anything else we're waiting on.
Well, like I said, we're still doing some electrical work with the cameras, and then we're still doing the roof. I think the allotted funding is that kind of
tied it up the rest of it. Okay.
Ties up the rest of it.
Okay.
But there's other stuff I still want to get done.
Absolutely. I just meant from what we had budgeted. That's all. Okay. So I'm just gonna go through the new business here because John kind of touched on a lot of these. Status repair upgrades, transfer station organization, and then show to John. I think he covered all those.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
So that just leaves labeling glass recycling collection, which I know
you talked about.
We're gonna work on
Has waste?
So that would just leave has waste. And if we could just talk about that, Becky, and then we'll get to your question. Okay.
So Has Waste was well attended, but they actually only had 130 people register. And I'm trying to get the numbers from Betty, but they're not out
I
yet.
just got them today.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And I think it was like 635.
How many? How many?
635 households.
Wow. So we used to get over 1,000, and then last year during the pandemic there were 700, which seemed like really meager. The problem was they started a new registration process, so people couldn't figure out how to register. Some people had no problem, but a lot of people couldn't.
Register to say that they're going. So you didn't need to register to say that you were going.
The thing was, it said you should register, and then it was hard for some people to register. So I would say 70% of the people that came in were not registered. And
the 635 number, was that registered or was that?
Well, that's what I was asking.
That's household.
That's total.
That's total that came.
Which is wild. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, it used to be that event was so well attended, but part of it may be that there's been so many people moving that there's also care of their Has Waste.
There's also been businesses that have stepped up over the years that's going to reduce some of that too. Getting rid of waste oil. There's numerous places like AutoZone and stuff that you can bring it now that years ago weren't in place. Paint. A lot of people you can bring paint to the Benjamin Moore stores and things like that. So it's going to reduce some of it. I'm not saying all of it, but it certainly is probably a slight reduction over the years because people are just doing it more regularly.
I have a question, and I was on vacation then, but when you registered, did you get a timed entry or anything?
No.
Because I mean, personally, I've heard about this before. I've never come down. I'm not going to wait, and I'd rather go to New Haven at my own convenience than wait for hours waiting up.
I will say they had a whole nother registration process, which was just by I had a clipboard and just anybody that wasn't registered just had to zap the code, and then they got it on their phone and they were registering. So nobody seemed to have, even the older people, if they didn't want to do it, they could just do it by.
Sure.
Okay.
But it was very fast. It was fastest.
Oh, it was fast?
It was faster than I've ever seen it.
Surprise. Any other discussion on Has waste collection results?
No, but are we supposed to be sending people to New Haven? Because I thought that was one of the requirements.
We as a commission have never sent volunteers or volunteered at that, event.
In New Haven?
Or in Fairfield.
No, in Fairfield, we've always done.
We've never,
I've always, yeah.
the commission? This was the first I've ever heard of that.
Mike would always say, who wants to help? Yeah, no. It was, I mean, but there's other people that step in like.
Yeah.
Talk.
I don't ever
But I
recall
just think.
that. I had asked you at one point too, and he said he.
I thought I heard that, no, that there's employees there that we aren't supposed to get that.
Right.
That's what I heard.
Well, she didn't need that many volunteers, it was fine, it worked out fine.
I mean, it was probably better for us to observe and learn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
So
that's
Becky,
our role.
Okay. Public comment, Becky?
Yeah, I have a question for John. Thank you for the update that you're doing on the transfer station. I think that's gonna be really helpful. A question I had was on the signage. It sounds like you're doing signage just to reflect a couple signs to reflect what use is required. Have you thought about doing signs on the recycling containers?
Yes, we're in the process.
Oh, there is.
There's more signs, there's signs for the on top to identify it. There's signage for the lanes as to where you're going. Right now, you have a little bit of over signage still, when you turn out everywhere, there's nothing.
yeah,
So we consolidated to a couple of places. It works a lot better. And then we're looking at putting signage on the different roll-offs.
And the signs I was specifically thinking about would be, since we have quite a few of our residents who use the transfer station to do their recycling, if we found that condominiums and things, when you tell people how to recycle correctly, they want to do it and they will do it. So maybe one thought would be to actually put those signs on your roll-off bins for recycling.
There's a
To
lot
tell
of-
people what to do correctly.
I mean, there's a lot of signage, and also,
Yeah, we're
Lisa,
working at it. There's
Lisa
a couple
has-
of phases of signs.
yeah, and
And
Lisa,
what signs would you do, and would this commission get a chance to approve the signs?
If you want, I can kind of send them to you guys, if you want to see them, but I know where we're going with some. I'm trying to get the vendor making them up already. I'm waiting for some.
yeah, and then we have to wait to see if glass is gonna be included. You don't wanna print a bunch of stuff and then.
Yeah, we would like to see them. I think the commission is to oversee. That's all. I mean, we put trust in you guys, but it would be good, I do think that we should have an approval on them before they go up.
There's a lot of things I learned in producing the signage, like, black plastic containers aren't allowed in, per deep, and I was throwing away black Chinese food containers and potting soil containers before thinking those are all recyclable or not. And there's so many things that people just don't know. So I'm sure you're getting a fair amount of contamination in your roll-up.
Lisa's been great. She's been spending a lot of time at those bins and doing all sorts of talking to people as they drop off stuff.
That's great.
She's been like a huge help down there.
Is there any other discussion?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
You're in. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you adjourn, 2015.